Will Beesmas get extended this year? Is this Beesmas even possible? If you've played this Beesmas, you know that the quests are extremely challenging, and with the timer slowly ticking down to 0, it brings up a lot of questions. The main question being, will Beesmas get extended? As with the new challenging BBM quest, a lot of players are having a hard time completing it within the restricted time. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining everything that's going on, my theories on it all, and in my opinion, the sad truth about this Beesmas. Also, I did put a lot of effort into this video, and I spent hours grinding this game for you guys, so if I can spend a few hours making these videos for you guys, and you guys can take just a few seconds and subscribe, it really helps it a lot. And with that said, here is what I think to be the sad but true truth about this year's Beesmas. Now, starting off with the fact that this might actually be extended yet again, we have to think about if it's even possible. Well, first of all, keep in mind that Beesmas, when it first came out, had a Beesmas timer that read 96 days, and just that alone is almost longer than any other Beesmas that we've ever had in any previous years. Even with that much time though, Onnit still took a while to get out the second part of Beesmas, and when Onnit did end up releasing it a couple of weeks ago, Beesmas had to get extended by yet another month, meaning that Beesmas has been going on for about 130 days or over 4 months. Now, 4 months for a Christmas update is definitely a long amount of time, and considering that spring just arrived and that summer's going to be coming up, it'd be pretty strange if Beesmas was still going on. But Onnit really does care about his community, so if the community needs it, then he'll probably extend it. But we have to figure out if we actually need an extension in the first place. But also keep in mind that Onnit doesn't just have to extend Beesmas, instead Onnit could also nerf the quests. And one thing we have to remember is that Onnit has already actually done that. When Beesmas Part 2 first started out, Honeybee's quest, instead of requiring 5,000 tokens from Honeystorms, instead required 10,000. The average player, this was next to impossible, as most people already have trouble collecting those 5,000. So to make it slightly easier and actually manageable, Onnit did lower it to 5,000. And also keep in mind that in past Beesmases, Onnit has nerfed stuff before, like a few Beesmases ago when Onnit actually had to nerf the BBM quest because he felt that a level 20 snow bear being defeated was a little too challenging for the community. And not even that, but the quest got nerfed even before they were put into the game, as for a few of the quests, they were even harder in the test realm than they are currently in the main game, so the quests have already gotten a total of 2 nerfs. So if anything would get nerfed, it's the BBM quest. But it's not just the BBM quest that's giving people trouble, it's actually the bee-bear quests because of how many robo parties they take. Because in my opinion, these are the hardest set of bee-bear quests that we've ever had in the history of Beesmas. I do feel though that with enough experience and grinding, this is definitely possible. So if we were to get an extension for this year's Beesmas, about how long would we actually need, considering we've already had 30 days to do the bee bear quest, the gummy bear quest, and the honeybee quest? Well, the quest actually took me a little over a week of straight grinding to complete, but I'm a YouTuber and have help from other people, so I would actually say that for the average person, these quests will take anywhere from a week and a half to 2 weeks. But also keep in mind that sure, we might be needing an extension, but these quests are meant to be hard. The first part of Beesmas is meant to be easy and it's meant to be completed fast, but the second part of Beesmas is one that really tests the player's skill and separates the weak from those who are willing to throw away their insanity. And sure, there are players that are trying extremely hard to complete this Beesmas, but at this point, it's basically just a game of who can be more dedicated to completing these quests. So back to the extension of Beesmas, exactly how long of an extension would we need, considering we've already had 30 days? Well, if it takes 1.5 to 2 weeks just to complete the other quests, that's already 14 days total. And I've seen that there are still a fair amount of hardcore grinding players that are just completing the Beesmas quests and are finally just unlocking the BBM quest. So considering we have 9 days left, those players only have 9 days to do the BBM quest. So if we were to get an extension, I would say that the players need at least another 2 weeks just to complete this BBM quest. But also keep in mind that if Beesmas gets extended, it's not just Beesmas that has to get extended. Onnit could only extend Bumblebee Man's quest as seen in previous years. Basically, what would happen is Onnit would remove all of the main Beesmas stuff except for Bumblebee Man's quest itself, the robo party, the snow bear, and anything else that Bumblebee Man's quest requires that is a Beesmas exclusive item, such as completing rank 29 of your robo party cake, as the robo party cake will be leaving after Beesmas ends. So now we're actually starting to formulate a theory here. Beesmas has already been going on for 130 days total, and what what we really need is for Onnit to extend Beesmas for at least another 2 weeks, if not just the BBM quest. But we also don't need Onnit to extend Beesmas because Onnit can just nerf the BBM quest. But the real question is, will Onnit do that? Because as I said earlier in the video, Onnit has done that. But then there's the situation of this year's Stickbug quest, which, if you didn't know, requires you to defeat about 50 Mexitos, and the only reason I'm mentioning that is because that's the part that has people struggling. Yet despite that, Onnit never actually ended up making Stickbug's quest easier despite many requests to, and that's because players learned. The Stickbug quest was mainly tough because it posed as a challenge for every single blue hive, as blue hives don't really do that much damage in general. Yet one thing we had yet to realize is that Onnit actually added a bunch of attack upgrades to the robo challenge, making it possible for a blue hive to complete the robo challenge. And the only reason that blue hives were bad at it, or at least had trouble completing the quest, is because most blue hives just macro, and therefore a year of macro doesn't do much to improve your skill in the game, whereas red and white hives have to manually grind it out and therefore get more experience. What I'm trying to say is, with enough time, blue players were able to figure out how to complete Stickbug's Beesmas quest. And I feel like that might be exactly what's happening with the current BBM quest. It poses as a really big threat right now to a lot of players, but that's just because not a lot of players actually know how to complete this quest. The possibility is there, and that's the fact that the main challenge for this year's BBM quest is actually just consistency. Because if you can be constantly macroing in the game, then you can complete the pollen hive that seems to have a lot of players struggling. And while Robo Party Blessing may be tough, all you really have to do is just take the simple time to log on every 3 hours and just run your Robo Party with a bunch of other people from Discord. The BBM quest is very possible. All of the resources are here at our disposal. You guys just have to realize that. Not to mention that, in my opinion, this is actually one of the easiest BBM quests that we've gotten in all the years, which will make a lot of you worried. Why do you ask? It's because since this BBM quest is actually pretty easy, it means that there's even less of a chance that Beesmas will actually get extended yet again, because Onnit knows that these quests are very possible as long as you know how, and those who know how are the ones that are actually taking the game seriously. So in simple words, only those who really try and grind out the game will know how to complete these quests. If you actually wish to complete these Beesmas quests, you had to be either a devoted player throughout the rest of the year before Beesmas, or really spend a lot of time in these last few days trying to complete the quest, really separating all the devoted players in this game to those who are just pay to win. So summing it all up, that does leave the question, will Beesmas Part 2 actually get extended this year, considering it's already been extended once before and Beesmas is going on 4 months now, and if it gets extended, it'll be going on for 5. Well, take into account everything that I said in this video, I feel that the chances of Beesmas Part 2 actually getting extended this year are fairly low. These quests are just extremely possible, and while they may be challenging, as long as you're willing to put a lot of effort into it, they're very possible. And as a perfect example right here, Onnit's doing his part and summoning a bunch of robo parties to help those who still might be a little confused. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this sad but real truth about Bee Swarm Simulator. If you could subscribe, that would really mean a lot, as I did put many hours into making the script and formulating the research. And with that said, thank you for watching your favorite White Hive. I wish you all good luck with the rest of Beesmas.